And specifically, in 1998, I think, no, 1999, my son, Marty, who you see here on the screen, was a high school basketball player, and he wanted to be a D1 basketball player, actually. And so he just was really excited. It overdid it. His nutrition didn't keep up with his physical output, as I would know it now. So what happened was he developed mono as a sophomore, and we really didn't know it at first, but when he started getting practicing for the football team that he was on, his football coach came to me and said, Marty just isn't acting right. He doesn't have the stamina he used to have, and it doesn't seem like he's just really, trying as hard as he used to and leading the team in the weight room and everything. So he said, maybe you could take him in and have him checked out to see if something's wrong. So we went to his pediatrician, and what we found out was that he had previously had mono, which we didn't know about, and that had developed into chronic fatigue. So although he didn't look that sick, he just didn't have the stamina that he used to have because he was, overdoing it really with exercise. So when we went in there, this doctor kind of told me, his immune system is really underperforming. And I said, well, what does that really mean? And he said, well, if your immune system isn't is strong enough, you're really at risk of anything. And so, fibromyalgia or lupus or all those things that, you've maybe heard about but not experienced. And I'll tell you, my heart really sank, not only because I realized he had some kind of problem, but also because 11 years prior to that, I had lost my 1-year-old son from another autoimmune disorder, which was myocarditis. Anyway, my son was a year old, and on Monday, we had his birthday, and on Thursday, he was gone. And so I was devastated, as you might imagine. And because of, anyway, I can hear you. I can hear somebody on the line, Brandy. If you want to mute yourself out, that would be good.
People are saying they can't hear us, Dawn.
Really? So nobody can hear us? I'm not sure. I mean,
okay. You know what? We're going to keep going. There's plenty of people now saying they can hear us. So there's some who say they can't and some that say they can. So let's just keep it going.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so my son had just died, and I was pretty devastated, obviously. And I said to the doctor, I said, well, gosh, what did he die of? And he said, myocarditis. And that was, I said, what's myocarditis? He said, that's like a heart virus. And I said, well, I was so naive at the time. I thought, virus? I mean, who dies of a virus? I said, how do you die of a virus? Doesn't it just go away in a couple weeks? And he said, well, Dawn, if your immune system isn't strong enough, you can die of the common cold, which actually happens a lot with elderly people. They might, they have a compromised immune system. They're getting weaker. They get a cold, and it develops into pneumonia probably. And so then what happens is a lot of people die. And so I was just devastated, and I've told this story to a lot of people, but honestly, I just want to take you there for a minute, because when you have a son that dies, he's a year old, it just takes the life right out of you. In fact, it's kind of like, if you've ever seen a movie that there's this atomic bomb that happens, and everything is every living thing on Earth is destroyed. Plant life, it's all gray and everything, except maybe this one person who was in some kind of undercover place where he survived. He comes up and he looks around, and nothing's living except him. And so that was what it was like with me. I just felt like it was March of the year. Nicholas had just died. And I looked around. Everything was green. People were driving their cars. They were laughing. Everything around me was fully alive. But inside, I was dead. That's what I felt anyway. And so really to recover from that was quite an ordeal. I knew a couple things. I knew that I was a music teacher at the time, and I'd seen other parents that had something devastating happen to them, and they kind of just checked out. And of course, their kids showed that. And I had 2 other sons in 1st and 2nd grade, and a wonderful husband who were also just hurting as much as I was. And so all that I knew was really I couldn't check out, and so I had to go on. And at that time, which it becomes pretty relevant later too with my Juice Plus career, I really went into personal development. I read a lot of things about how, you can design your life when bad things happen to you. It's not about reacting to them as much as it's about, well, continue to go on and being brave to go on and making a life anyway. So anyway, as this went on, I'm recalling these things in this doctor's office when Marty had this autoimmune thing, because that's what happened to my other son. His immune system was compromised, and I was really happy, really, with Marty and his older brother, because all through their elementary school and high school, they're really healthy, and they were always, really competitive in their sports. And so I thought, how could this happen to my healthy kids too? And so I just went. I said to the doctor, I said, well, what can we do? And he said, I just recommend that he stop playing sports. And, somebody who's in high school, that's his main thing, it's not going to want to do that. So I searched out another medical doctor who was also an internist, a cardiologist, and a nutritional therapist. And so she was giving him all these vitamins. So all through his junior year now, he, continued to play sports, but he didn't have the stamina that he had previously had. So he was taking these vitamins, and they really didn't work. In fact, he scored less points as a junior than as a sophomore. And so at the beginning of his senior year, he was either going to have to make it or break it, right? So I asked the doctor, I said, isn't there anything else we can do to help, give him more energy? And she said, well, we can give him IVs right into his system. And so I said, well, what does that look like? And we'd gone by this room that had a lot of chelation patients that had cancer, and that was my experience with it. And I said, is that what happened? She says, yeah, we'll put some nutrition right into his bloodstream, and that will perk him up. I said, will that work? She said, yeah, it really will. It'll give him more energy. So I said, how much will that cost? And she said, $120 a time. And I recommend twice a week, because, kind of like orange juice on a hot day wears after a couple hours. Well, this wears off after a couple days. So that was $120 a time, $240 a week, about $1,000 a month that was going to cost me. But, it was this senior year. That was his dream. And we do what we have to do for our kids, right? So I said, okay. And, I was just really happy with that decision, because I could see him slowly getting better, or having more energy. And he really was the MVP of his team, and was really doing well through that season. His stamina was much better. So when we took him to his pediatrician again to get his physical for college, I was telling the original doctor, the one who told me that my son had died and told me that Marty shouldn't play sports anymore, I was telling them the good news, because I thought we'd won this battle. And he looked at me and he said, Dawn, what makes you think just because he has more energy that his immune system is fine? Of course, my stomach sank again. And I said, well, isn't that what it means? That's why we came in here, because he didn't have energy. And he said, you can get energy artificially. Coffee, caffeine, sugar, energy drinks, Coke, both kinds, any kind of stimulant can do that. So my stomach sank again. And I said, well, how do we know how he is? So we had that set of tests done all over again. And what I found out was that his immune system hadn't improved at all. And that had been now 2 years into this. So I was devastated one more time, and I just went home and prayed again. And I thought, oh my gosh, what can we do here? And 2 weeks later, I ran into this lady who had this odd looking keychain at a fundraiser for the college he was going to go to. And I said, what's that? She said, well, that's my Juice Plus. She said, have you ever heard of it? I said, no. And she proceeded to ask me if I was interested in nutrition. And I told her about Marty. And she gave me this tape to take home and listen to. And I was very interested. But you know what? Somehow I just forgot to listen to it. So when she called me back, she said, what'd you think of the tape? And I said, oh, I was embarrassed. I said, really, I wanted to listen to it, but let me call you back after I listened to it. So I did. And I listened to it with such hope. I thought, oh my gosh, this is Garden of Eden food. And maybe this could make a difference. Of course, I wanted to believe something would make a difference, but I was really hopeful, because it made so much sense to me. Fruits and vegetables, we'd been juicing, doing all these other things. And I thought, well, so when she called me back, I said, yeah, I want to get started. I said, how much is it? Basically, she said, she just gave us this monthly installment price of about $80 a month. And I thought it was just too inexpensive, to work, honestly. So I thought, oh my gosh, I was so hopeful, but I told her, I said, I don't think this is going to help. We've been paying $1,000 a month, and really he had a more serious problem than what this, inexpensive product could do. But she proceeded to tell me that year was the first immune study that had come out. And it would help his immune system. So I thought, well, what the heck, it's not so expensive. So we started taking it, or he started taking it, and I gave him 4 and 4 instead of 2 and 2 because I thought more is better, and it was. Anyway, he took it all the way till, or he still takes it, but when he came home from college, now that was basically the beginning of March through December of that year, we had that set of tests done, and all his immune markers were in the normal range. So that's my why, really, for Juice Plus. And that's really what the power of fruits and vegetables can do. And so many people get started maybe not because of their own health, but because of they want their children to be healthy, and that certainly was my story. And then in the meantime, though, with my sponsor really did good customer care. She invited me to events. We didn't have that many at that time, but the ones that we did were, of course, good. And so I went to the events, and I remember going to Pam Popper one time, and she was talking about the power of whole food and fruits and vegetables and plant food and how important that was. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've got hope. I just kept getting more and more hope. And then what I also noticed was I started really thinking, these people look different. They look better. They're happier. They're healthier, and they don't complain all the time. So honestly, I kind of fell in love with the community. But, she would ask me from time to time, she said, you really probably would be good at sharing this business. You'd be so good at this because you know so many people. And at the time, I was a music, in fact, I just retired from that position a couple of years ago, but I was a music director, and I had over 400 people involved in different musical groups. And I had, during the school year, met with about 14 different, ensembles and groups every week. So I was working mostly over 60 hours a week. And, anybody with a brain, of course, I found out later that wasn't true, but I thought anybody with a brain would not know better than to do this as a business when you already had your plate full and you didn't have enough time for anything else. But nevertheless, I got addicted to the community because of the people. I got addicted to the information because it gave me so much hope about health. And I started noticing other people in my groups who, when they would get sick, I would tell them about Juice Plus and give them a referral or whatever to my sponsor. But she said, you're almost at VF. That's the second position in our company. For those of you who are new, it doesn't really matter what the title was, but I was giving referrals, and then she told me it would just make sense to me that if I would take care of those people, it would be better because I knew them. So I decided to become a distributor, but I didn't at all decide to, do this as a business. I was just sharing it with the people I loved and knew about who I thought would be interested. So the summer went on, and by the end of the summer, I had more time in the summer. So at some point, I thought, well, that would be kind of fun to build a qualified business. I could do this business a little bit more in the summer. So I got to sales coordinator that first summer and build a qualified business. And then I was ready to start the school year again, and knew that, I would need to take care of my customers, but I wasn't going to be going to a whole lot of events. But then she invited me to conference. And that's when really I got the big vision for the business. And what happened was Jay Martin got up there. And for those of you who have known our founder and president of our company, the Juice Plus company, he has such a good sense of humor, and he always keeps things so simple. And what he said was, for those of you who are here for the first time and who already know that fruits and vegetables are really, really important for your health, he said, and you know that Juice Plus really is fruits and vegetables in a capsule. He said, you're probably on it, and you probably like it. And if you have a family and they listen to you, you probably have your family on it. And he says, if you have friends and you've been experiencing the health benefits from Juice Plus or have been educated on Juice Plus, you probably shared it with some of your friends. And if you do that with enough friends, you'll have what we call a qualified business. And he said, and if you have a qualified business and you're at that sales coordinator position, you can make $500 to $700 a month. And so everything he said was my journey, right? I love Juice Plus. I shared it with my family. As I went to events, I knew that not only Marty needed, but our whole family needed it, and shared it with some friends and had a qualified business as making, a little over $500 a month at the time. But again, no mindset of a business owner. Absolutely not, because I was too busy. And then he said, let me tell you a little bit more. He said, so you have a qualified business, but imagine if you had 3 friends who you could also teach to build a qualified business. So they would also each be making $500 to $700 a month. And he said, you taught them how to do that. Not only would they be your buddies, but you would be doubling your income. You'd be making about $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And I thought, oh, really? And I started thinking of people I knew who were more health conscious than me, nurses, teachers, and people who were, they exercised regularly and all that. I was into my music and I went to sports games, but I was mostly a spectator at the time. But I realized how valuable it was. But I kept thinking of people, and I thought, wouldn't that be fun to be with my sister, to be with my friends? And so then he said, let me take it one step further. Or he said, so that would be what we call a 3 club, because you'd have 3 people that you taught to have a qualified business, which is like about 20 to 30 families or about 40 individuals on Juice Plus. He said, let me take it one step further, and then I'll stop because I don't want to blow your mind. But if those 3 friends you taught to build a qualified business actually are like you, they could probably teach 3 other people that you don't know also how to build a qualified business. And then you'd have a 12 club, the 3 you taught, and each of those 3 would teach 3. And he says, then you'd be making anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 a year. And I got it. It sunk in. Although I thought about it. You're kidding. You mean just by teaching people to do what I did, I didn't change my, life. I just told the people around me, and it didn't take a lot of time. And the people I was thinking about, a lot of them really weren't as committed as I was to that, whole, music program that I was responsible for. And I thought, wouldn't that be exciting? If that were true, both my kids were in private colleges at the time. Marty was a freshman now in college. This is in the fall of 1999, and Robbie, my older one, was also a sophomore in college. I thought, what if? And then I started remembering the words of Wendy Campbell, who lived in St. Louis at the time, who was always telling me, if you really want to do something with passion and purpose, you can do this. And I just kind of rejected that at the time because I had a lot of passion and purpose in my life. But, she said, if you build this business and you could be an NMD in 3 to 5 years, now we do it a lot faster because we have a lot of the Healthy Living Revolution and things like that going for us. But she said in 3 to 5 years, if you just kind of focus on that, you could make national marketing director. And then with Jay saying, well, 12 club, if you just build a 12 club, you could make about $25,000 to $40,000 a year. I came home and I thought, if that's really true, I have time for this business. And so I went home, and then kind of my skeptical brain set in. I would ask other national marketing directors, is that really true? Really? And they would say, yes, it's really true. And so I believed them. They were credible. I thought, oh gosh, I love the product. I love what it does for my family and my friends and the people I knew. I loved having a buddy system. I love the community, and I wanted my friends to experience that too. So I went home, got to work, and a couple years later, I was the national marketing director. And 6 months after that, I was a 39 Club member. And I know if you're new, you probably don't know what that means, but it means that you have taught, like what I did. I really focused on really 3 quality people at first. Of course, as the years went on, we had more than that. But they taught 3 and they taught 3, just that vision. Because if I would have been smarter, I would have gone with 5 wide right away. But, it really is that amazing. If you focus on helping people get healthy, the mission of our company, and just teach other people to do the same, your life can be changed through this business in so many ways. So I'm going to take you through now the second question that Brandy asked, which is the mindset of a business owner. So here's what my mind kind of looks like, and it reflects my journey. I've seen that this business is mission-driven from start to finish. A couple years ago, Jay Martin tells a story. He was with a whole bunch of other direct sales companies and other network marketing companies, and they were looking at the success that Juice Plus has enjoyed over the last years, since Juice Plus 1993. And they said, really, what is your marketing plan like? Is it a product-driven company? The healthy living part, the healthy living revolution is what we call it now. Or is it an opportunity-driven company? People just get in to try to really make a lot of money and make it a career or whatever. And he looked at him, he said, it's not either. It's not product-driven. It's not opportunity-driven. It is mission-driven, which means the people who think they're least likely to want to have a business, kind of like me, who's mission-driven about what are passionate, those people who want to help other people, they are attracted to this business because every one of these communities, which I'll explain in a minute, it's mission-driven. So The way I say this business, it's an A plus B plus C equals D business. A represents the healthy living community, and we have this great umbrella now of the healthy living revolution, and that's our customers. And of course, we live it too. We're excited about improving our health. And then B is the thriving business community, and in that community, we have people who want to share, not just take Juice Plus for their own use, but share it. And that's comprised of our team members. And C, the dynamic leadership community, is the people who really take care of the customers. They do good customer care and they do good team member care. And we are allowed to have a lot of personal development there. And the Living Legacy community is the people who really take this all the way and create a life outside of Juice Plus too, in their families, and use what they've learned in every area of their lives. So my journey, you can see a lot of people come in different ways. I have people that are coming in now because they're at a stage of life, maybe they're retiring, they really want to create a legacy and make a difference, and they're focusing their attention, some through Tower Gardens, some through a lot of different ways. But I came through the A door, just like most people, because of my son, then realized it was for myself. So that's what I fell in love with first, became a raving fan of the A community. And then I fell in love with the people, the leaders of our community here, who were dynamic and exciting and positive, and it was very different than any other community I'd been in. And then when I went to conference, I got the vision for the B community, which is the Thriving Business community. And then I really, my story continues from there. So what's really important to make this business work and to have the business mindset is to create life-transforming experiences in each community. So what experiences do we want our customers to have? Well, we want them to have a health experience so they become a raving fan of our products. And raving really means not just a satisfied customer, but they're going to share it with the people they love. Most people that care about other people share with them things that they think are valuable. And then the B community, we want our team members to be raving fan team members. So we teach them how to maximize their income and get an income experience. If we just teach them how to get a title or how to, sign a distributor app, that's not it. We want to teach them how to really create a customer base and then maximize each position, however much or little you want to do with this business. At each level, they have a great income experience. And then the leaders, we want the leaders to have a great personal development experience, be supported in a group of people who help us grow. One thing I love about this business is that you get to experience your sweet spot, which means if you don't like to public speak, a lot of people think that's the next thing they fear closest to death. You don't have to. Other people will. If you don't want to be really into sharing the research and all about the health, we let professionals do that. So there's all kinds of things we can do that you can express yourself, because if you stay connected to the community, that is how you can get to do your thing, and yet other people around you can do the things that they love to do, and together we can really realize our dreams. And finally, then the D, the Living Legacy community, is a place where we can use all those things we learned in our life. So we can realize our dreams if we have that business mindset of living and teaching these life-transforming principles, because the principles of each of these communities is what really creates that experience. So think about the Healthy Living Revolution, that first community. What are the principles? They're pretty simple, but principles always work, no matter if you're old or young, tall or short, no matter what country or culture, what time period. Real food is always a key principle of health. And of course, our Juice Plus really helps bridge the gap between what we should eat and what we don't. Drink water, move, sleep. We all know these things. These are the core principles inside of the Healthy Living Revolution. And then the Thriving Business community, what are the 4 core principles there? Well, it's the mission-driven model. They have 3 Ps, the picture, the path, the process, and then I added a personal plan. And that's what we're going to go through next week a little bit more. We're going to picture the possibilities, and then we're going to follow the path. And the path means that you can, there's the sky's the limit for what we can do in this business. What I love to do is help people make an extra $750 a month, by building a qualified business. But it's easy to get started. You can just do the Healthy Living plan, So that's kind of thing. The sky's the limit, how far you want to go in whatever community you want, how much health you want, the shred tan, exercise, however much you want. The sky's the limit for how optimally you can take advantage of the principles. But for here, the path is the same for everybody. It's just a matter of how fast and how far you want to go. And here's the principle I learned from Wendy Campbell too. You're a blessing whether you do a little or a lot. That means that you don't have to decide to be an entity or anything else. But what is really good is if you shared it with a few friends in the first place and did the healthy living plan, you want to partner with the person who's the leader in your team, your sales coordinator, for example, to continue to educate them, get them in the Facebook groups and things like that so that you can keep them so they stay healthy. And then stepping through the process is just really a matter of keeping people connected and building relationships with them so they can know the value of Juice Plus, not just order it, but understand how valuable it is. And then again, however fast or far you want to go, you want to make the personal plan. So that's the 4 core principles of thriving business community, which again, we'll talk more about specifically what kind of income you can create at each level next week. And then what about the 4 core principles of dynamic leadership? Well, what's leadership all about? A lot of books written about it, but one thing leadership is about, leaders have followers. And how do people follow you? It's because they trust you and you're available. So just like in this business, these 4 core principles are relational principles, and you can use them in your family. Imagine in a family, if you didn't value the relationships in your family, you wouldn't show up, you wouldn't stay connected, and you wouldn't stay the course, you split, right? But in this business, it's pretty much the same. And if people just remember these simple things, oh my gosh, you can be an amazing leader because people trust people who value them. Relationships aren't something, they're everything. People trust people who consistently show up, and things happen when you show up. And just a hint, if you show up happy, a lot more happier things are going to happen. If you show up with without a smile, things probably won't go your way as much. And then the third principle is stay connected. That's what you want to do. A lot of people think they can do this independently because they're very successful doing many things independently. But guess what? If you want a teamwork, think of a team. Think of Tom Brady. If those people didn't show up for practice together, know the plays, they couldn't win. So staying connected and build a team is really, really important. And whenever you split off and you start disrespecting other people in your team, unity doesn't happen. So if you look at that circle, that's a chain link there, that really represents not a hierarchy, but that everybody matters in your team. Each of us are a link. A circle represents, roundness, and it's one team, one mission. So we want to stay connected, and then you can play to your sweet spot and somebody else can play to theirs. And finally, stay the course, whether it's a family or a vacation or a business. If you don't have set your GPS in the right place, you'll end up someplace that you wouldn't want to go. So you want to stay connected to your leaders to know what is required at each level and stay the course. And then finally, A plus B plus C equals D. This legacy that you're going to create in your life. I can't tell you the many things that in this training, and I won't, but at other times, I've got team all over the world, done many, many things. In fact, Randy, who introduced me, we went to Ireland together. And so living legacy means that we have healthy minds. And what does that mean? The core principles, if we think right, we do great activities that are productive, we build healthy relationships, and we have finances enough to enjoy life, we pretty much have a balanced life. Healthy minds to develop and design your life. You get to design your life and realize your dreams in this business if you want to. You get to have a healthier body to be able to do productive things. Do productive things in life, not just to look in the mirror with your wonderful body, but to actually become a productive person, creating value and fulfillment in your life that brings you more happiness. And then, of course, this business teaches you in the leadership community how to communicate with people better and build healthier relationships. And our company now is coming out with this personal leadership development program too, that is going to really make that even that much more easy to while we do that activity, we can know ourselves better, and therefore we can know other people better. So we develop a healthy heart set to grow meaningful relationships. And also, if we really focus on what we're going to talk about the next 2 weeks, developing healthy finances, and whatever you want out of this business, that's available to you too. So I think that's pretty great. So I see this business as mission driven from start to finish. And our mindset, our business mindset, really focuses on not a title or a necessarily a club, but the people that we help maximize the experience of whatever community they're in, helping our customers have this amazing health experience, our team members have an amazing business experience, and the leaders in the community work together to model how to educate your customers and your team members and model generosity. And when you do that, you're going to have an amazing legacy. So we realize our dream by teaching those principles: health experience, income experience, growth experience, and a legacy experience. And next week, we're going to dive into really how to maximize that income by following the path, picturing the possibilities for people, and building those relationships, building that solid customer base, just like I did at the beginning. And 40 Trio customers can give you $750 a month. Talk about that. And this is the path of the mission-driven model. Build a customer base, step 1. Develop a qualified business through your own customers, step 2. And teach other people to do the same. It really is that simple. But duplicating that and keeping people, not just you making money, but them making money too, will help people realize that the thriving business community is very valuable to their life. So with that, I'm going to end by asking you, what is your dream? What is your dream? What kind of life do you want to design? And we're going to be continuing to play that out as we follow the path next week to do that. So just want to challenge you to think about that between now and next week. And Brandy, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Well, thank you, Dawn, so much for just giving us your amazing story. I could just sit here and listen to your story day after day after day. And setting us up for the next couple weeks. You gave us a great overview. And I'm just so excited to start Series 2 and Series 3, right? Because this is the reality. We get to learn from the best of the best, and I'm just excited for you to continue to show us how to maximize our income as a business owner. And you know what? Through these teachings, as you just showed us, I say just maximizing how to be a relationship builder, right? Because building those relationships helps us get customers, helps us gather team, helps us to become a leader. And then, ultimately at the end of the day, I remember sitting there thinking, leading a legacy, but you know what? We get to show how to live a legacy. So I just want to thank you for gifting us this evening. And I want to thank each and every one of you who took the time to really invest honestly in what your dreams are. So think about it over this next week. What is your dream? And I can't wait to continue to learn from you, Dawn. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Brandy.